Hello learners, I am Durva Kishore Mandrikar from Ganpat Parsekar College of Education and I welcome you to our course named Empowering Voices Exploring Feminist Narratives in Indian and American Poetry. Indian culture is a blend of diverse traditions and beliefs encompassing vibrant festivals and ancient philosophies. Historically patriarchal, it also reveals the divine feminine. Indian feminism challenges gender inequalities, advocating for women's rights and inequality in education, employment, and society. It addresses issues like gender based violence and discrimination, striving for legislative reforms and cultural change. The intersectionality of gender with other identities is recognized, promoting inclusivity and social justice in India's ongoing evolution. Traditional gender roles in India confine women to domestic roles, limiting opportunities for education and employment. This leads to an unequal distribution of labor, with women often burdened by household responsibilities and facing restricted autonomy. Such roles contribute to the vulnerability of women to gender based violence and reinforce stereotypes about their capabilities. Transformative efforts are needed to challenge and change these norms, promoting gender equality, empowering women, and ensuring their full participation in all aspects of life. Women's empowerment movement in India have mobilized to challenge gender inequalities and advocate for women's rights and equality. These movements have addressed issues such as education, employment, political representation, and legal reforms. They have campaigned against practices like dowry, female infanticide, and child marriage, while also advocating for laws to protect women from domestic violence and sexual harassment. These movements have been instrumental in raising awareness, mobilizing communities, and pressurizing governments to enact policies that promote women's empowerment and gender equality. Intersectionality and feminism intersect in the Indian context to address the multidimensional nature of women's experiences. Indian feminism recognizes that women's identities are shaped not only by gender but also by factors such as caste, class, religion, ethnicity, and sexuality. This intersectional approach acknowledges that This intersectional approach acknowledges that women from marginalized communities face compounded forms of discrimination and oppression. Indian feminists advocate for an inclusive feminism that addresses this intersecting axis of identity, challenges hierarchical structures, and works towards social justice for all women. They emphasize the importance of recognizing and amplifying diverse voices and experiences within feminist discourse and activism to create a more equitable and inclusive society. Indian women face numerous challenges in their pursuit of gender equality despite advancements in various areas. One prominent issue is gender-based violence, encompassing domestic abuse, sexual harassment, dowry-related violence, and other forms of discrimination that impede women's full participation in society. Education remains a concern with disparities persisting in rural areas and among marginalized communities, limiting women's access to personal and professional growth opportunities. Economic disparities also hinder progress as women encounter wage gaps, restricted economic opportunities, and barriers to leadership roles, and entrepreneurship. Traditional patriarchal norms and cultural practices such as child marriage and dowry further perpetuate inequality and restrict women's autonomy. Moreover, women continue to be underrepresented in decision-making positions in politics and business, impacting their ability to influence policies and societal norms. Despite legal protections, gaps in implementation and enforcement of laws related to women's rights persist, hindering access to justice for victims of gender-based violence. Addressing these challenges requires comprehensive efforts to dismantle patriarchal structures, promote gender-sensitive policies, and empower women to participate fully in all aspects of society. Indian feminists have made remarkable strides in advancing women's rights and promoting gender equality. One significant achievement has been their contribution to legal reforms advocating for laws against domestic violence, sexual harassment, and dowry-related offences. These legislative changes provide essential protections for women facing gender-based violence and discrimination. Additionally, feminist initiatives have played a crucial role in promoting women's education and empowerment, leading to increased literacy rates and greater participation in women in various sectors such as academia, business, and politics. Moreover, Indian feminists have successfully campaigned for increased representation of women in politics and governance, resulting in the implementation of reservation quotas for women in local government bodies and legislative assemblies in some states. This has led to greater visibility and participation of women in decision-making processes. Furthermore, grassroots activism has been a hallmark of feminist movements in India, with women organizing and mobilizing at the community level to address issues such as gender-based violence, access to healthcare, and economic empowerment. These grassroots efforts have brought about tangible changes in the lives of women and marginalized communities. Lastly, Indian feminists have contributed to cultural shifts by challenging patriarchal norms and stereotypes through literature, media, and the arts, promoting gender equality and challenging traditional notions of femininity and masculinity. Overall, the successes and achievements of Indian feminists have significantly improved the status and empowerment of women in Indian society. In conclusion, feminism in Indian culture has made significant strides in challenging gender inequalities, advocating for women's rights and promoting social change. Despite historical challenges and entrenched patriarchal norms, Indian feminists have achieved notable successes through legal reforms, educational initiatives, political representation, grassroots activism, and cultural shifts. These efforts have led to tangible improvements in the status of empowerment of women in Indian society, paving the way for a more inclusive and equitable future. Looking ahead, the future prospects for feminism in Indian culture remain promising but also present ongoing challenges. Continued efforts are needed to address persistent gender-based violence, economic disparities, and cultural barriers that hinder women's full participation and empowerment. By fostering collaboration, raising awareness, and advocating for systematic change, Indian feminists can continue to advance the cause of gender equality and create a more just and inclusive society for all. Thank you.